All right, so one of the worst things that could happen to you as a basketball fan happened to me today. So I was out and I was unable to watch the game today between Serbia and Team USA. And so I get a notification on my phone and it shows that at half, Serbia is up by, I think, 17 points. You guys can let me know if I'm wrong. So at this point, selfishly, I was rooting for Serbia. Why was I rooting for Serbia? Well, I knew that in order for Team USA to win, coming back from down 17 at half with Nikola Jokic being on the other side, it would take an iconic level comeback, right? It'll take a classic type of game from Steph Curry or LeBron or Kevin Durant or maybe even Anthony Edwards. It would take that. It would have to be one of the most talked about and iconic basketball games in a while in order for them to come back from down 17 at half against a really good Serbia team, right? And as a fan, I didn't want to miss that. So I didn't want that moment to happen because I knew I wasn't going to be able to watch it. And so that was why I was rooting for Serbia to win the rest of the game. I know it's selfish, but that's just kind of how it is. Then I checked my Twitter or X or whatever right after that, like a couple hours later, and everything I feared would happen ended up happening. Team USA completes that iconic, historic comeback. And this turns out to be simply one of the most iconic games of Steph Curry's career. He goes berserk in the fourth quarter. It was really refreshing to see those highlights of him doing what he was doing because so many people have run with that narrative. And I think it's an incorrect narrative that he is not a great late fourth quarter performer and that he's not clutch. People have been saying that about Curry for years, despite him having 4 championships and 2 league MVPs and being the all-time leader by far in career three-pointers made. Somehow people can say that he's not clutch. Well, today he showed it. He showed one of the greatest moments in Team USA basketball history. It wasn't just him. It was also LeBron. He went insane in that fourth quarter. And Kevin Durant just hit this sick dagger that looked ridiculous on the replay. But I just wish, as I said, I was able to see it live. I don't know about y'all, but as a fan, I can't watch games on replay mode. I can't just watch highlights. I feel a certain way if I miss those moments, right? I feel a certain way if I'm not able to see them live because I like seeing the rest of social media react to it in real time. And the fact that I missed it, it kills me. But regardless, as I said, it was just one of the most iconic moments of Curry's career and even LeBron's career at this point, like on the latter years and where he's outside of his prime. To see those guys still do that, even Kevin Durant as well, it's really insane. We were kind of derived of those moments last season because for the Warriors, they didn't make the playoffs. So we didn't get to see Steph Curry play at a ridiculous clutch level in a high stakes situation. LeBron with the Lakers, they got to the first round and they lost in the first round to the Nuggets, but it was a bit different. We didn't really get to see that iconic LeBron moment a ton last season. And with Kevin Durant, same way. The Suns got to the playoffs and they were very disappointing in that first round against the Timberwolves. So we were derived of that moment from all three of those guys essentially last season. And to see them have this moment on the same team together, it was insane. The fact that we got Steph Curry, LeBron, and Kevin Durant dominating in clutch on the same team. Let's just sit back and think about that. It's insane. It's kind of like what we wanted to see out of the Brooklyn Nets between Kyrie, James Harden, Kevin Durant. Like you want to see 3 superstar players completely in sync. And that doesn't happen a lot throughout the course of NBA history. It's like a handful of times where that has happened, where a team has like 3 all-star level players, let alone 3 superstar level players, and all of those guys are in sync. Usually there's like a caveat. Usually one of those 3 guys are hurt. There's no chemistry. We got that today. We got to see those 3 guys dominate together, play super in sync. We got to see clutch Curry, clutch LeBron, and clutch KD all on the same team, do it at the same time. It was insane. And I think it was simply the greatest Team USA basketball moment of all time, right? And I think everything Team USA does from this point forward is going to be compared to the dream team it always has been. And I understand it. That was like the greatest, or arguably now, the greatest team ever assembled. So I understand that. But this to me is better than any moment that 1992 team could have created. It was absolutely insane. So shout out to them for being able to pull that off. And now talking about their next matchup in the championship game, the gold medal game against France, let's think about the dynamic here. So I think Steph Curry and LeBron James, when I think about the NBA, when I think about basketball, they may not currently be the 2 best players in the league. That's up for debate still. But I think those 2 guys are the faces of the NBA, right? I still think Steph and LeBron are the faces of the league. They'll be matched up against the future face of the league in Victor Wembanyama, who is coming off of simply one of the best rookie seasons we've seen in NBA history. When does that happen? On the Olympic stage, where the current faces of the league go against the future face of the league, right? There have been guys who they've matched up against, Team USA has matched up against, that are great players, maybe all-star level players. Wembanyama is different. Wembanyama has already shown us in 1 year, he does have that GOAT level upside with his size, shot blocking, his skill set. He showed it on the NBA stage, and he's been showing it out here through the Olympics. That's the dynamic in that game on Saturday. And also on top of that, think what that does for Wemby if he has a great game and France ends up winning. And it's very possible because the international landscape is very competitive, and I think it's as competitive as it's ever been. That's why Adam Silver is trying to capitalize off of it by having like that EuroLeague, FIBA, NBA in-season tournament idea kind of floating around. Think about what that does for Wembanyama if France pulls off that victory on Saturday. Just think about that. So just kind of have that in the back of your mind once that game ends up happening. But I'm hoping we can get another type of classic between those two teams so I can actually sit down and watch it. But again, it killed me. It was like a dagger in my heart seeing the rest of social media go crazy over a moment that I didn't get to see and actually had to wait hours just to see highlights on it. So amazing stuff for Team USA, amazing stuff for Steph. Again, the fact that we got to see all three of those guys have one of the most iconic games of their careers on the same team in the same moment. It was ridiculous, something that we're not going to see again in a very long time unless they're able to do it again here against France. So we'll see what ends up happening on Saturday. It'll be a very entertaining matchup for sure. In my opinion, there is a lot at stake. There are a lot of ridiculous storylines. Regardless of what happened today, people are going to give Team USA a very hard time if they lose to France in that gold medal game. And then there's a separate narrative where we're talking about Victor Wembanyama. And if he ends up having a dominant game in that championship game, how we're going to start talking about him. The narrative is going to become Victor Wembanyama takes out LeBron, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards, right? All of the best or arguably the best players in the NBA right now. So we'll see what ends up happening, but it'll be very fun on Saturday. But again, shout out to Team USA for creating one of the greatest basketball moments of all time. And shout out to me for missing it. And hopefully we can get that moment or something like that moment again come Saturday.